She's got that look. She's got that style. She's got that conversation that makes you want to stay for a while. She's the all-American woman. Hi, I'm your all-American woman here with another episode. I'm still celebrating Black History Month, and today I wanted to do a video. This one is titled Dark Girls. Now, this is a video. It's you won't see famous faces on this per se, as much as you're gonna see real women. And when I say real women, I'm talking about not your superstars, not your actresses, not your entertainers, just women from everyday life talking about experiences they've had being a dark-skinned woman. Now, I love this because when I saw this being advertised, I said I had to get it because, and I'm sure it was, I think it was on a episode of an Oprah Winfrey show. And when I saw it, I was like, I have to get this book because I remember when I was younger, I grew up in a very, I guess you would say, light-skinned family. On my siblings and my mother, I was the darkest, if that tells you anything. And also, my dad, he had a darker skin tone than I did. I always say that my skin complexion is the combination of my mom's yellow banana skin and his pecan tan skin tone complexion, and that's where this comes from. But most of my family had really light skin or skin lighter than this. I always figured that I'm somewhere in the middle. I never really considered myself light skin, but I never considered myself dark skin either. And when the conversation normally came up, when I was a kid, for the most part, I was never teased about my skin tone, I should say. Skin complexion, yes, because I would always get teased because I had I guess some would say an odd skin complexion because I had the color skin tone of a carrot or an orange. Or as I like to say, cinnamon. Anyway, but for these girls, it was not a laughing matter because they had dark skin. They said they experienced things, that were not comical in any way, and they were treated badly because of their skin complexion. And I remember growing up, because I'm from the South, so I remember growing up seeing things like that. But to be honest with you, when I was younger, much younger, when I say younger, I mean somewhere in between, in my mid-teens, like the tween age, or no, mainly teenagers, because before then I never really thought about skin complexion because, like I said, mostly everybody in my family was pretty much my skin complexion. It never really came up until I went to high school. That's when the whole thing with light skin and dark skin became an issue, and it was never an issue for me, but girls that I knew or that I knew of, it was an issue for them. And I have to say, a lot of the times I thought that dark skinned girls were mean because they were always, in your face. Oh, you think you're better than me because you're light skinned. And you're like, what are you talking about? And that's how I really felt. And they were very dominant and mean spirited about the whole thing, whether you started it, which was usually not the case. Never was the case, honestly. I never thought my skin complexion made me better or less than anyone else. I was black. I am black, and that's all that was for it, for me anyway. But I have had dark-skinned girls come in my face and tell me that before. Seriously, just come right in my face and say you think you're better than me because you're light-skinned. And I'm like, no. And it wasn't a lot of girls. It wasn't even extreme. I think it only happened to maybe once or twice. But I do remember getting into, and it was only girls. I mean, guys sometimes, I think, talk to me. I wouldn't say it was because I had light skin or anything. I honestly never, that never really came into play with me. Skin complexion was not one of those things that I thought about until, like I said, until it became an issue for someone else and they brought it to me. And I began to think about it like, hey, am I being treated differently because I'm light skinned? I know I wasn't treating anybody differently, and I didn't consider myself light skinned. Looking at my family, at least my siblings and my mother, I was kind of dark skinned compared to them. But compared to the girls on this, I wasn't. And honest, and then when I got older, as I became an adult, and I met more people of a dark skin complexion, I still think dark skin tone is so beautiful. It seems so flawless, honestly. It's very creamy and smooth and just flawless. Like no wrinkles or anything. And I see it all the time in my face. And of course, you're always your worst critic. But seriously, I know looking at people like if to get a common denominator, people like Chrisette Michelle or I don't know. I can't think of anybody right now. Oh, Idris Elba. Oh my gosh, he would be considered a dark skinned guy, but he's gorgeous and beautiful, and his skin is. Oh, Tyrese. Oh my gosh, this man is so handsome, and he can sing. So that's what I see when I see dark skinned people, and I sometimes I remember hearing people say when I was younger and comparing the different complexions how we had more cream or we had more Caucasian history in our family than the darker black people. And I don't know if that was necessarily true. I never really looked back at my ethnic background. I want to one day, but I have not. So I honestly don't necessarily agree with that. Just because you're light skinned doesn't mean that your ethnic background is filled with more people of different races or Caucasians or anything like that. It just means that your family has light skinned people in it, and not all of my family has light skinned people in it. Some of my family, like my cousins and aunts and things, have darker skin tone. So it just I don't think that necessarily is a factor. And they all had the same mom, my aunts and my mom and my uncles, on my grandmother's side or my mother's side, they all had the same mom and dad. And they're different shades, all shades of a black person's rainbow. And my brother, he's as white as a white person, but he's black. And my skin tone, I think I was a bit darker when I was younger. So, but we had the same mom and the same dad. So it that to me was more to be disparaging to a person than to actually, or to downgrade them or to as an insult than to actually say something worth facts. So this book, this DVD, this movie is something that I think that all people should see. I bought it because I wanted to see things from a different perspective, to try and understand. Because I always like to feel that I can try to, if not walk a mile in another person's shoes, at least get a better understanding of what their shoes are like. So this right here, this is a beautiful DVD. I think that everyone should watch it, no matter your race or your skin complexion, skin tone. You know what what makes a difference in the person's skin complexion? Melanin, that's it. So if you have a lot of melanin, you have a darker skin complexion. If you have a little melanin, you have a lighter skin complexion. If you have a lot of melanin, you probably have a vitamin D deficiency, because the sun rays are not as potent to your skin, or to radiate through your skin as a person of a lighter skin or a fair skin, because of the amount of melanin you have in your skin. So it all comes down to science. It has nothing to do with someone being better than another. It has nothing to do with that. And it should never. And, those girls that did that back in the day, um, you know, today some of them I even speak to now. And then that was something that I think was just a part of that time. Like that movie School Days, that was when that came out too. And a lot of people were definitely bringing it up, and I don't know how I like the movie, but I don't know if it did more damage or added more conversation to the talk of race. I mean, it wasn't the first movie like that of its kind, but it was one of the first movies that people in my generation really paid attention to. You know, so please watch this movie if you get a chance. Amazon. Again, you can buy it off Amazon. Probably get it at your local store. Like what is the name of that store? Best Buy, where they have a lot of videos and DVDs and things like that. Also, you could probably rent it. Just rent it and watch it on Amazon without buying it. But I think it's one of those things that probably watch and have a conversation, a real conversation, an honest conversation where, people talk to each other, but no one is, you know, affected personally in a negative way to the point where you say something I don't like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I think it's one of those things that can open up a really major dialogue among sisters, if nothing else. All right? So that's it. That's all I have for you today. I hope you liked my contribution or my recommendation, and I hope to see you next time.